Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Jambon.
La plume de mouton est dans le jardin. Yes.
Now appearing from Tête-du-Mer.
Comment ça va?
Je suis en temps.
Okay, I'll stop that then. Yeah. Okay, of course, I have two things for you. One cover, one original. But because I am a poet of choice,
Oh no! Don't be doing that choice.
I will let you decide whether you want, by vote of the audience, Bukowski or Eliot. We'll have to do hands. Okay, whoa, stop. Okay, hands for Bukowski.
Yeah!
I see like 3 hands, 4 hands,
You're not looking
5
carefully
hands.
enough.
Okay, can you see better than I can see, Nikki? Hands for Bukowski. Hands for Eliot.
Elliot.
Elliot.
Eliot won. Okay, Eliot won.
Mainstream.
Bunch of MFAs.
Well, I would do all 3, but I honestly don't have time.
You got the wasteland there? That's a nice one.
Yeah, the wasteland. I would do all 3, but the Bukowski poem, I confess, is rather long, so it just wouldn't work. I'd be up here for too long.
Okay.
And James wouldn't like that. He'd think I was hogging the stage. Okay, so I guess we'll wind up with something serious and then something slightly different. Journey of the Magi. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter. And the camels galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, and the silken girls bringing the sherbet. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out, the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile and the towns unfriendly, the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears, saying that this was all folly. Then at dawn we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a watermill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky. And an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door, dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information, so we continued, and arrived at evening not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago. I remember, and I would do it again, but set down, we were led all that way for birth or death. There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence and no doubt. I've seen birth and death, but had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death. Thank you very much. And now for something slightly different. So, with apologies to the great 60s and 70s sci-fi writer Harlen Ellison, with apologies to anyone else who's ever written a poem, and thematically there's something in here of Joe Dewar, I think, at least his spiritual essence. Maybe. Santa was JTF2. It was like this snow-burnt and crisp, a day of crushed sounds extracted from frozen dessert air. Close to a burial ground for bad ideas, like polar bears. A place they scattered the ashes of footnotes and bibliographies that overflowed from books about the Franklin expedition that got remaindered, sold off for $3 beside last year's Christmas coffee table book, something that seemed like a great idea, like Tupperware of my childhood, or sleighs like the one my brother stole so we could trade it for dope. But I digress. This is about the man who came talking out of the frost, to himself, tramping on ice and black rock by a frozen bay, to his, I'll write it in caps, secret lair. That place of bayonets and Barbies all bundled up with colored string, all sing-along bright, shiny, tingling, chrome sheen. This holly-jolly man with a B-movie face, like special forces, hard to kiss, tough as a narwhal, like he hated it all. The talk, the myth, the kids. But hey, he had a job to do, and he'd eat every last piece of cookie and carrot on the planet. To make a statement, to really lay it down and let them know, those bastards in literary criticism, those darlings in mythology and comparative lit, those sherry swillers in classics, and the pink gin-soaked sweetie pies in religious studies. Let them find polished teeth and all know that this was one badass motherfucker just ready to stuff a dream down a chimney, sneak a toy between 6 kids all snuggled up in a torn tarp in their tar paper shack, whatever it took between phrasing and parsing the lasting storyline. And if there was a this and a that, fake out, take down, something laser guided and ideologically one-sided that needed deciding, well, Santa would take it all in his stride. No fear or no favor, no quarter taken or given between mayhem and heaven. Saint Nick was your man if you wanted it done, whether it be something rum or something hidden under his tum, like C4 or a high-powered rifle, or something deadly left in the trifle. Like he started off blunt, then got to rhyme, and headed back to crisp cuts and attacks, just like this zigzag between Xmas and pagan. The man in the maple red suit, that old bastard who's made his escape from that Euro trash talk, all the way to Canada's north, who learnt every word for snow in Old Norse, Cree and Innu, and who published on Naughty and Nice in pre-Roman Gaul, and held forth in blank verse on everything since stockings and whistles and all that was jingle and jangle, could talk armor-piercing and Kevlar. In any disguise, he's a hell of a shot. But I like it best when I hear his nog-chilling laughter as he flies over town, sharp and fast as a drone. Merry Christmas.